rotate the device. I'm hoping things are somewhat fine, but it's like, no, anyway, this is like the 4th time starting this stream, and it's gonna drive me nuts the whole time. But I at least got a tripod now, set up the tripod. My gimbal is like going like, oh, it's fine, and then blah, it's not fine. So I don't know what's going on with that. But anyway, welcome to the live stream. I'm Michelle, if you're new here. I'm a Princess Cruises certified expert. I am a travel advisor specializing specifically in Princess Cruises. My daughter is bouncing in the side here while we have breakfast. This is what we do on Sundays. We're in Canada. It is currently minus 34 degrees Celsius, which is about minus 30 Fahrenheit. So it's cold. I'm done with winter. We came back from the Sky Princess to not bad weather, but now it is freezing and I'm done with life here. Anyway, let's try this again. I hope you guys don't have the whole like notification that the orientation is locked, rotate device back, because everything is showing fine on my screen other than that notification. So I'm hoping that things don't look absolutely horrible to you. So anyway, welcome. So anyway, Sun Princess. I am scheduled on the Sun Princess for 21 days in July, and the other day it got a notification that there was changes. And we get notifications all the time, port time changes, and even like with the Sun before, we were supposed to leave from Venice, and we ended up getting changed to Istanbul. So there's port changes all the time, but this was kind of a massive change. And so when I first got the email, I skimmed it and I just saw Santorini and was being changed to, I don't know how to pronounce names, so I'm going to slaughter them for right now. Usually after I cruise, I'm like, okay, I've heard this name enough now, and then now I know how to pronounce it. But Mykonos, I think it's how you say it. And so right away I'm running roll call groups now. This is something that we are trying out, me and my brother. My brother and I decided that we were going to do roll call groups. I'm going to talk about that later. But anyway, I wanted to put it out in the roll call group to be get it out, information out there, because as a travel agent, I sometimes get emails that the people in my roll call group don't get. So wanted to be smart about that and get it out there. And then I went back to the email and I read a little bit more and was like, oh, this is like a massive change. There is so many changes. And then I researched a little further, and turns out there was like 7 different Sun Princess itineraries that were affected by changes, and then like 17 Norwegian cruise lines cruises had changed itineraries. Mediterranean's is kind of just a mess in the summer. It is like busy and chaos. Santorini, if you know anything about Santorini is a bucket list for so many people, including my mom, and I get it, but it is a nightmare of a port to visit. So it's not a great port to visit. So first, it's a tender port. So you have to take this little water shuttle from your ship to the dock, to the port area. With Santorini, you then have to pay to go on a cable car to get you to the town. And even if you're doing an excursion, you still have to take this cable car. I don't know why. I'm like, isn't there can't you just have I think there's a road. Can't you just take a bus up the hill? Anyway, cable car. So, so when you are in port with a lot of people, you are waiting for your water shuttle to go from your ship to the port, which is run individually by ships. But then the cable car, you're stuck with everybody else. So a lot of times this port is canceled, either 1, due to weather, because they can't tender in, 2, because the cable car is broken, because that seems to be more often than not, or 3, because of congestion, because there's just way too many ships in port. And you would think that when they were scheduling, they would have seen this, and the port itself would only allow so many ships to be scheduled during that time, but apparently not, because anyway. And the congestion one, for sometimes I'm like, really? We were scheduled to go to Ocho Rios in Jamaica, and they said, nope, we can't, it's congested. And I'm like, there's us and one other ship. How is that congested? And then we got switched over to Montego Bay, and then there was just the one ship in port. But who knows? I don't know. Maybe they were just for the amount of stuff to do on New Year's Day, there's not enough in that area. We're going to switch to a different port. Anyway, long story short, I question sometimes the whole congestion excuse. But with Santorini, makes total sense. So we were scheduled in with 2 other ships, and about, I think it was like 13,000 passengers were supposed to be on these ships. And yeah, sure, not everyone's going to get off. Everyone's getting off at different times, stuff like that. But that is a lot of people in port when the cable car is a nightmare to begin with, and like hour-long waits sometimes. So I'm actually happy that Princess canceled this, because our plan was, so because of my loyalty status, I get priority embarkation. And so our plan was to get on the first tender over, take the cable car up, look around for about 5 seconds, take a few photos, take the cable car back down before it got too hot and before it got too crowded. So that was kind of our plan, because with the priority tender embarkation, we actually can usually get on the first or the second tender if we're like on the ball and awake at breakfast and all that. So we can usually beat crowds that way. But that was kind of our plan. But seeing it was switched, we're like, not a big deal. So there's like the iconic look of Santorini and like all that. So, and I know a lot of people are bummed about that, but I'm actually super excited that it was switched to Mykonos. Anyway, like I said, then I had seen that there was all these other changes and went, whoa. Their excuse for like everything was congestion, and I was like, okay, whatever. So I'll talk about Santorini first, and then I'll kind of go through the other changes. So Santorini was changed to Mykonos. I'm excited for that because, like I said, we were planning on doing nothing but just going up that cable car and coming back down again. Now we are going to attempt to go to Delos, I think it's called. Beautiful UNESCO World Heritage Site, very architecturally beautiful. We watched some walking tours of there. My daughter has special needs and is in a mobility device. Currently, long story short, I ramble a lot. If you're new to my lives, hi, I ramble a lot. My daughter is currently on a wait list for a wheelchair or some sort of mobility aid. In the meantime, we are using strollers that she flips over, she's too big for, she drags her feet. So we are planning on having to bring one of her strollers. We're actually going to bring a big stroller that she hopefully can't flip over and can't drag her feet. And I adjusted it so that there's a chest clip to it so she can't climb out of it, because we were having that issue. Because we are on the wait list to even be seen to have the assessment done, which probably won't happen until February or March. And then by the time the wheelchair gets ordered and then delivered, it's probably not going to be here till like the fall. So if not later. So not counting on that. So we were like, okay, let's watch some walking tours, because Shore Excursions Group says absolutely no anything, like no wheelchairs, no mobility devices, no nothing. And Princess says not suitable for those with mobility challenges. So we're like, okay, like it is, one, you have to take a ferry. So is the ferry accessible enough that we can bring her stroller on, even with us carrying her and the stroller like we do for a lot of the tenders? Can we do that? And two, is the area accessible enough that we're not just like getting off the boat, the ferry, and then being like, okay, this is all we can see for the 2 hours in the heat that we're here. So we watched some tours, and it actually doesn't look too bad. It looks very similar to a lot of the walking trails that we do locally, and other things that we've done in the past. So it's very like, it's not all accessible, but a lot of gravel, a lot of gravel, stone and stuff, which the stroller we're bringing can handle all that. So that's our plan, is to do that excursion through Princess. The one through Shore Excursions Group, with it being a ferry, and I know Shore Excursions Groups guarantee return to port. Come here. Return to port on time, but with it being a ferry, I'd rather just do it through Princess. And also Princess includes like the audio guides and fees and stuff. So there is also a museum there. And yeah, so that's kind of our plan. And then, yeah. So the other changes, so for me, I actually am preferring that change. That was more of a bucket list location for me than Santorini. Santorini, I didn't really care, but I knew there was a lot of Greek, not that there's no Greek history in Santorini, but it's different. They're like, yeah, anyway. It's different to me. And then Kotor, Montenegro, has been changed to Bar Montenegro. Again, congestion was the reasoning. This for me, we were gonna do a hop on and off bus tour, and now we're gonna do, there's like a fort thing right at the port area from what we've looked at, which looks beautiful, and like, again, that whole architecture and stuff like that. And so this, again, a good change for us. I prefer more like the more unique ports than like the busy capital city ports. So we're excited for this. More history, more architecture. It's kind of our jam. Heat in the summer. We didn't think of that when we booked this. We got an amazing deal. And then we went, oh man, summer in the Mediterranean. For people who are like not summer people. Anyway, so we're actually really excited for that. There's, like I said, there's like the little fort, castle, I think it's a castle, that we're gonna go check out there. And then the last port that was changed was, I'm looking at notes, Genoa, Italy, was changed to Malaga, Spain. And so we have a lot of Italy happening during this cruise, and we have a few Spain, but not a lot. So this just kind of is just giving another country. I was like, do not cancel my countries, because I very much was like, we are going to 8 different countries during this cruise. I'm so excited. If they had canceled one that we had like multiple countries of that one, I wouldn't have been too sad, because we have like no port sea days. We have like 3 sea days in 21 days. We maybe have 5 total. Malagar, is that how you say it? Thank you. Hello. So anyway, so we're going to Malagar. I'm guessing that's how you pronounce it based off the comment. Spain instead. And our plan for Genoa was a hop on and off bus, and our plan for Malagar is going to be a hop on and off bus. This tends to be the best option for us with my daughter. Again, accessibility wise, so much easier. In the heat, also, we will hop on the bus. We are gonna probably do a little bit of research. We are gonna do research, but we're gonna try to find one stop to hop on. Brits use it as a party place at night. Oh, great. So that might be a busy place in Spain. But yeah, our plan is to pick like one stop at each port that we're doing a hop on and off bus, and be like, here's something that we will check out, and then we'll hop back on the bus and finish the tour, and potentially go on, like, there's, I think with Malaga, yeah, anyway, that place has 3 different lines, I think. There was a green and maybe a red and a yellow, something like that. And so we'll hop on and onto the other lines as we, so we can get pretty good tours. And the ones through like the sightseeing city tours, the red buses, we did this in Amsterdam. We saw a ton of them in Norway. You bring headphones and they like plug in and you get narration. So really, really good idea if you're wanting just an easy, cheaper tour of just a bus tour. And that's really, you want more food? That's really kind of how we roll, is we don't really need much, like we want to see some stuff, but it's too much with my daughter to be hopping on and off buses constantly. So that, again, not a huge change for us. I was not attached to that port, so for us, not a big deal. All of these are new countries, new ports for us. So we're just excited to go out there. Gibraltar was one that was high on my list that I didn't want canceled. So I'm glad that one was not canceled, but the time changed. And I don't know if the time changed to be a longer day or a shorter day, but for us, it's such a small area that we are just gonna walk around. We have no excursions. We are not probably gonna go all the way to the top. I don't know that I can walk that much. I don't even know if it's accessible enough for us to get all the way up there. And I was reading that like taxis are really tiny, and so like they can't accommodate wheelchairs. So we're not even, and even all the excursions were like, we can't do wheelchairs. So we're probably just gonna walk around the area a bit. The other one that had a time change was Corfu, Greece. Was it Greece? Yeah, maybe. And so I didn't write down Greece. I just wrote down Corfu. And so again, I don't know if it got longer or shorter, but my thinking is they probably got a bit longer just because of the way we are now going. We don't need to be Like when we go to Spain, then we're going to Gibraltar right after, and so like they're pretty close. And then one of our France ports just changed dates to accommodate the whole different areas. But yeah, I'm still super excited for this cruise. Like I said, tons of countries, tons of ports. My ones I didn't want canceled were Rome, which it won't. I highly doubt Rome will get canceled because it's actually, we're doing a back-to-back cruise. And so Rome is the changeover date. So I know that one most likely, I highly doubt that one will be canceled or changed, just because it is a changeover embarkation port. So that one we're doing a bus tour to go to the Vatican and go just drive through Rome. We don't need to hop out and stuff like that for that one. And then, can't remember, my memory is so bad sometimes with some of these ports and being like, which port, we were going to Pompeii, and so I can't remember which port it technically is at. Florence is for Pisa. I don't know. Anyway, someone I'm sure knows. But Pompeii is high on our list too, and we actually go to that port twice. And so I doubt that one will be canceled either. That one we're doing the Easy Pompeii, which it goes along the wheelchair path. Pompeii has a wheelchair path, so we are taking that one. We're not doing the accessible one, because the accessible one goes in an accessible van, which only has seats for 2 wheelchairs and 2 companions. And I just don't feel good about taking up seats for, we can manually transfer my daughter. So give us a big bus that can hold her wheelchair, which in this case will be a stroller, but we can physically pick her up and transfer her onto the bus. And even she's mobile enough to be able to potentially climb on the stairs with support. So yeah, so like those are our big ones of Rome, Pompeii, and now Mykonos. So excited for that. I cannot wait. Like that architecture and history and stuff is really our thing. So we're really excited for that. What else do I want to talk about? Princess has released a thingy about non-alcoholic drinks. They have partnered with something. That's how much research I did on that. I was just like, oh, they have non-alcoholic drinks for dry January. I'm hoping they'll continue it when we are on the Sky. So both me and my brother don't drink alcohol. And so kind of disappointed about the menu, the lack of the menu. I knew they could make some other stuffs non-alcoholic, but just being like trying to order off the menu, or like they're on the Ocean Now app, there was very few non-alcoholic drinks. I'm meaning like cocktails and like the fun drinks, not like here's a pop. We don't drink pop, soda, we don't drink that. So, and we don't do the drink package, so it doesn't really matter. But excited to see that they have partnered with like a company that does non-alcoholic drinks to be able to offer some of those typical alcoholic drinks in a non-alcoholic way. What else did I want to talk about? So we are doing roll call groups now. If you are booked on our Mexico group cruise or our Emerald group cruise to Alaska, so Discovery is going to Mexico, Emerald is going to Alaska. If you are booked on either of those cruises, you should have gotten an invite. You should have gotten an invite to the new Facebook roll call group. If you're like, Michelle, what the heck is a roll call group? So basically, roll call groups are from like back in the day of Cruise Critic, which Cruise Critic still exists, but most people have switched to Facebook now. It's just easier for people to find. More people are on it. Whereas like, especially like first time cruisers aren't gonna be like, oh, let me go find the roll call group in the, on Cruise Critic, whereas a lot of first-time cruisers will search up their cruise on Facebook. It makes it easier to share, all that stuff. Anyway, so Facebook is where it's at with roll call groups. And so with our last couple cruises, we've been joining the roll call groups, or I've been joining the roll call groups, and then like posting some information in there. Like I'm a teacher, I like to help people, I like to give information. We do YouTube for a reason, because I like to help people. My brother now helps me with that, which, oh my gosh, it's so much easier. But that's why I do what I do here on social media, is to help people. And as a travel advisor, I became a travel advisor to help more people. So we've been in these roll call groups and they haven't been great. A lot of spam, a lot of scammy, like, oh, here's a t-shirt that I made, and it's like the same t-shirt on every group, and it's the same person on all these groups, just spamming these links. And it feels very icky. And then you have people being let in that are like tour operators and transfer operators, and just being spammed with like that kind of nonsense too. And it's just, does not feel good to me in a roll call group. Roll call groups are meant for people who are on the cruise, who are wanting information about that cruise, who want to meet people that are on that cruise, and all this nonsense just doesn't feel good. And I mean, there's also travel agents that will create roll call groups that they aren't even on, which doesn't feel good to me either, because a lot of the times they create the groups and then they don't even run them. They just kind of create them, and then near the end of right before cruising, they'll post an ad being like, hey, I've been running this group, book with me. And it's like, don't, that's icky. Like, that is such icky, not great feeling. Do your job, be helpful. And so we are running groups now. I'm running groups. My brother's like, we should run groups, but then it always ends up on me, which is fine. But because we want to do it right. So running a group for that Sun Princess group, for Mexico, all the cruises we are taking, we are running groups for. I'm tempted to run one. I have a group going to Hawaii, and I'm tempted to run a group for them and let the public in as well. But I'm not on that cruise, which again feels a little icky to me to run a group that I'm not in. But I have a whole group of people going on that cruise. So. But the roll call groups, instead of having just a bunch of spam people on there, I am very much deleting all of that. Already had one person come in to, I think it was the Sun Princess, try to sell transfers, and I was like, block, being very much moderating these groups because we want them to be helpful. So I'm posting about the ship, so Sun Princess, Discovery, Emerald, Coral. Those I think are the 4 that we're currently booked on. And then posting about different dining venues, and we'll be posting about the different ports and different excursion options, and just really want them to be a place that people come and actually get good information about the ships and make them feel prepared. The same reason as I have the YouTube channel. We are updating our embarkation process. I'm so excited for that video to go out. It might go out tomorrow. That video is really outdated, but it's one of the ones that's most popular. It's most helpful. So I wanted to update that. But yeah, so just creating these roll call groups to be super helpful. And if you're not part of our main Facebook group, my main Facebook group, so if you go like facebook.com/groups/traveling beyond boundaries, link is probably in the description. That group is also just I do post like, here, book your cruise with me using this link kind of stuff, but I just want to be helpful. So yeah, we're creating these roll call groups so they are actually helpful, so people actually get to know each other, so people actually feel part of a community before they get on the ship, versus just the nonsense of, here's shot glasses that is the same thing for everyone, every single group I'm in. Yeah, I'm not sure what else I wanted to mention. I think that's probably it. That's probably all I'm going to talk about today. But that itinerary just changed so much. I was really surprised by that. But for us, honestly, I find it better. I know some people will be really disappointed, but this is where you have to like know your ports, because like I said, Santorini is canceled so often that it was not a surprise to me. I'm more glad it got canceled now and changed so we can make plans for Mykonos instead of getting there and then them canceling it and then you're stuck on the sea day. Whereas at least now I feel like we got a good trade-off for those. It's like, oh, okay, we went a port that I didn't really care about for a port that I'm excited for. So there's a lot of ports that like tender ports are often canceled due to weather. There's just certain more ports that are canceled more often, and just knowing which ones those are can be super helpful and not get so disappointed when they are canceled. Like Iceland, Greenland, tender ports, kind of hard with weather and stuff like that. Antarctica, sometimes you can't see things, and sometimes you gotta, it literally is like, we're gonna go down there and try to do these things, but we're gonna do what we can, when we can, because weather. So anyway, thanks so much for tuning in. If you are interested in subscribing and following for more Princess Cruise content, subscribe. If you're watching the replay of this, there might be a video for you to go watch at some point at the end here. Otherwise, subscribe, do all the YouTube thingies, and if you ever are like, I really need to know about this process with Princess, or I have this question, comment below and I will either answer it in the comments or I'll create a video, that kind of thing. We just want to be super helpful here on YouTube and provide you guys with value, because we love Princess Cruises so much and we want to have lots of people cruising with Princess. We do have those group cruises, so I have a Discovery group cruise that is, my group rates are sold out, but there are other group rates that I can get, or not group rates, but like I can still book into the group. But final payment is now due today, so you have to pay in full. But that group I'm really excited for. And then we have Alaska in 2026, July 7th to 14th, 2026. We have that group going as well. So if you want to join in those. And then if you're like, I just can't do it right now, 2027, we are doing a North-South Alaska. We have already decided that. We are going to have 2 dates. Don't know what those dates are because Princess has not released those yet. And Princess doesn't love me enough to give me insider information like that. So yeah, they haven't released dates yet. So when we know, I'll let you know. But we're going to do 2 different groups, most likely both north-south. But yeah, so anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next week. But if there's something you're like, Michelle, do a live on this, let me know, and I will do that as well. Bye, guys.